Joining me now is one of the best political handicappers in the business. He's the editor and publisher and namesake of the Cook Political Report, Charlie Cook. Mr. Cook, welcome back.
Thank you, Chuck.
All right, Alabama, a lot of Roy Moore. And I know you believe, hey, outlier, black swan, all of that. But I'm curious, Trump at 48% in Alabama, is that not like another piece of evidence in this canary in the wave coal mine?
Well, yeah, sure. But I think people are equating. Look, there are all kinds of signs that you and I have watched this stuff, watched midterm elections for a long time. We've seen waves up front. This is what they look like. 36, 37% approval rating, lowest of any newly elected president in modern history. For every one person that strongly approves, two strongly disapprove. That the party ID for Republicans has dropped 5 points in a year. State legislative seats, 33 have gone from Republican to Democrat this year. Only 4 have gone from Democrat to Republican. This is what waves look like. But having said that, I think yesterday was less about Trump and more about Moore. That if Republicans had nominated Luther Strange or any Joe or Jane generic Republican, any member of the Republican House delegation, Republicans would have won easily. This guy was toxic before we knew that he had an unhealthy interest in teenage girls. Now, but to your point, did minority turnout come out, did African-American turnout come out in big numbers? Yes, and that's what Democrats will need next year. And a lot of white voters, instead of voting with their feet, they voted with their fannies. They chose to stay home. But so I don't think it's mutually exclusive. We could have all these signs of a wave, of a anti-Republican wave, and yesterday's still about more and less about Trump.
How do Democrats sustain this energy that they have? And I guess we probably asked the same question after 2010, after the Scott Brown victory. It was the same thing. It was like, wow, a wave's developing, but can they sustain this for 11 more months? That's the question I had.
I think President Trump's approval ratings and the intensity of his disapproval has been very, very steady. I mean, I suppose 2 or 3 more quarters of 3% GDP growth, maybe he picks up a little bit. But frankly, I don't see that. I think it would take a black swan event for this to change the dynamics. But where I disagree with a lot of people is they say, well, you have to have a message. And in midterm elections, I don't think the out party needs to have a message.
You usually don't, do you? Yeah.
Yeah, I think in 2020, that'll be a problem for Democrats. But here, this is just not being Donald Trump's party, not being the party in control of Congress. They can just be against stuff and still have a really, really good election. And the thing is, Doug Jones, what was his policy? He was not Roy Moore, and he wasn't Roy Moore. I mean, that was sort of the gist of it. And it worked.
There's another fascinating aspect about the president's approval rating, this atmosphere, because the economy is humming. And it's probably, with a little bit of a boost with this tax cut, at least short term. There's a lot of debate about whether this can sustain anything long term. But I think it's pretty clear. There's a lot of indicators that 2018 is going to have more good economic news. Is it just, has Trump wiped out that as an opportunity for him to sort of gain political credit?
The fascinating thing is during the Monica Lewinsky affair, during impeachment, people were not inclined to nominate President Clinton for Husband of the Year, but the economy was good and voters didn't want to rock the boat. They didn't want to throw him out of office, and it ended up hurting Republicans in the midterm election. But this is very different. To have the lowest job approval rating for any newly elected president in history at a time of really good economic growth, 4.1% unemployment, we've never seen anything like this before. But could a sustained growth move him up a little bit? But what we've seen is when you've had presidents that had approval ratings under 46% going into Election Day, midterm elections, the average is a 7-seat Senate loss and a 40-seat House loss. No, I don't think we're going to see those numbers, but would this translate into a 24 or more seat net gain for Democrats in the House, which is majority? Yes. Would it be a 2-seat? Yeah. Could it be a 2-seat? Absolutely. So, sure, 10 and a half months is a long time.
But the canaries have lined up in various coal mines throughout there. Anyway, Charlie Cook, I will leave it there. I tell you, usually this means we'll have more races get put on the board. That's what happens after things like this. So at least it'll be a lot of activity for you and others. Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks, Chuck.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.